Joining me now from our bureau in Washington, D.C., president and founder of the Future Foundation and former U.S. Deputy Military Attache for Iraq, Entifadh Qanbar. Entifadh, it's kind of like dominoes, of course, in the Middle East. And let's start with Iraq as we look at this domino set. Iraq and Iran, they're neighbors, of course. You look into Iran, you peer into their heart right now. They're pledging revenge. If there is some sort of strike, they're pledging a military strike. Where do you expect they would target? That in the Middle East or somewhere beyond?
Well, Iran never fights directly. They use proxy war. They are too coward to face the United States. I can almost bet you that. They hit targets in Saudi Arabia with unknown source. They hit tankers. They use their militias, proxies in Iraq to hit or to raid the U.S. embassy. I think President Trump's move to kill Qasem Soleimani and Abu Mahdi al-Muhandis is the best move ever since 1979 to counter this evil regime. We have to remind the American people Qasem Soleimani was the direct reason for killing 603 U.S. soldiers in Iraq. One of them is my own nephew. He killed 603 soldiers in Iraq and thousands injured. If this is not enough to kill Qasem Soleimani, then what is?
And Americans seem to have short memories. It was the late 80s where Ronald Reagan effectively had to take matters in his own hands when he attacked the Iranian Navy and effectively shut down the Iranian Navy for many, many years. And it was a unilateral move, not unlike what President Trump has done here. Meantime, the State Department is warning Americans overseas, and especially in the Middle East, but Americans overseas to be careful, lay low right now. Inside Iran, where there aren't many Americans, of course, what is the reaction from Persians? I know in this country, the few Persians that I've checked with, they're happy, but they're cautiously optimistic because they know that Iran is probably going to do something. What about the Persians? We've seen the video, and of course, we know that it's a totalitarian regime there, and thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of those people are forced to be marching in the street for the funeral of Soleimani. So what does the average Persian think of what transpired here?
Well, unfortunately, due to the mistakes of President Carter, Iran was giving to the mullahs, and the Iranian people, who are very advanced, very civilized people, are obliterated by this terrible regime. However, the bad policies of President Obama and the phony nuclear deal led to Obama giving on a silver plate 4 countries in the Middle East, that is Iraq, Syria, Yemen, and Lebanon. And Iran extended its hands for the first time in history to the Mediterranean. And now we are seeing President Trump got this terrible inheritance from his predecessor, President Obama, and he's trying to correct things and put things in place. I think the killing of Qasem Soleimani, who I don't think anybody could fill his shoes, this guy has been doing terrorism for decades. Yeah. He's been killing Americans for decades. He's far much worse and much more killer than bin Laden and al-Baghdadi. And I am totally shocked here in Washington to see people defending this heinous criminal, saying things against President Trump's decision. What President Trump did is the right thing. And I think that would be a good lesson for the Iranian mullahs. And hopefully we will see their departure in the near future and the winning of the Iranian people and all the peoples in the Middle East who are uprising now, including in Iraq, sacrificing themselves to get rid of this terrible Islamic Nazi regime.
The United States effectively cut off the head of the snake by taking this guy Soleimani out, right? Is there any doubt in your mind that this move saved lives, not just American lives, but any human life? Any doubt in your mind that this move is not saving lives? That and also the fact that this could have, you know, we have the left saying that this is going to start a war. I look at it in the opposite realm. I believe that this kind of move could preempt a war and prevent a war by taking out one of the field generals.
Of course, if you kill a bad guy who is well experienced, you know, I am told that Qasem Soleimani has in his back pocket $3 billion a year to spend left and right on terrorism. This is a guy who could buy people and blow people at the same time. He is a notorious guy. He was walking freely across the borders between Iran and Iraq and Syria and Lebanon, terrorizing people, terrorizing politicians, interfering in internal affairs. His aim every second to kill Americans. He was behind the raid on the same regime that he belongs to. He killed 320 Marines in Beirut in the 1981. Right. They also killed several hundreds and tens of Americans in Qanbar Tower in Saudi Arabia. And the recent raid on the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad was directly organized. I have details of the whole plan. He implanted his own people in the green zone to allow those militias, those hooligans, to enter the green zone and attack the U.S. Embassy. This guy's departure is good for me, for you, for our next generation, and for the whole world.
President Trump defending U.S. interests in Baghdad. That's one of the reasons why they took this guy out. Now we have to keep our eye on Syria and Lebanon, where Soleimani had huge influence. We'll have to discuss that at another time. Entifadh, thank you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.